Author and famous screenwriter Robert McKee said, "True character is revealed in the choices a human being makes under pressure. The greater the pressure, the deeper the revelation, the truer the choice to the character's essential nature. There is no greater pressure than to deal with a crisis." A crisis is a major event with a usually negative outcome affecting a company, an organization, or an industry, as well as its services, products, or brand. A corporate crisis can either directly affect the lives of the consumer by causing physical harm or cause damage to society as a whole. Today we are going to learn about how one corporation reacted to an unforeseen crisis. Welcome to the monthly leadership strategy meeting. I am Kevin KILEY, the Chief Brand Officer here at Initech. We are going to improve how we lead our employees by examining the values displayed by the Bayer Corporation during the acquisition of Monsanto and how Bayer reacted during this financial and public relations crisis. Let's review the agenda for today's meeting. We will focus on the situation at Bayer and Monsanto before, during, and after the merging of the two companies. What we need to take away from this meeting are the values displayed by the leadership at Bayer and what we here at Initech can learn from Bayer. Bayer has had a long, diverse, and troubled history. The company was founded in 1863 in Germany as a dyestuffs company. In the next 2 decades, the company expanded across Europe. During the late 1800s, the company expanded quickly due to the success of the newly formed pharmaceutical department. The Bayer pharmaceutical department received patents on 2 pain-relieving medications that you might have heard of, aspirin and heroin. After the First World War, the top 6 German pharmaceutical and chemical companies merged against their will to create IG Farben. The conglomerate was the largest corporation in Europe and was the largest pharmaceutical and chemical company in the world. Following the end of World War II, the giant corporation was separated back into the original 6 companies by the Allies. The corporation has undergone several name changes throughout the years after the wars and is currently known as Bayer AG. Today, Bayer is a multinational conglomerate divided into 3 departments: pharmaceuticals, consumer health, and crop science. The pharmaceutical division is focused on prescription medicine. Some of the well-known brands under the pharmaceutical division are Xarelto, Mirena, and Avelox. The consumer health division develops and markets non-prescription or over-the-counter medicine. Bayer has many popular consumer health brands such as Claritin, Aleve, and Alka-Seltzer. The crop science division develops seeds, pest control, and crop protection. The crop science division has many popular agriculture brands including Warren's herbicide, DeKalb seeds, and one that will be covered greatly in this presentation, Roundup herbicide. Monsanto was a US-based agricultural biotech company with a history dating back to the beginning of the 20th century. Monsanto was a Fortune 500 company that employed over 20,000 and had sales totaling over $14 billion in 2017. Monsanto has also had several legal issues during its history. They had to pay large legal settlements due to many controversial products, including the pesticide DDT and Agent Orange. Bayer was an older company that was struggling to stay relevant in the ever-changing marketplace. Bayer decided to purchase Monsanto and add the biotech giant to their portfolio to improve the struggling crop science division. Monsanto agreed to be purchased by Bayer in June 2018 at a cost of over $63 billion, the largest acquisition in the history of Bayer. The foundation of this purchase was the glyphosate herbicide Roundup, which accounted for over 10% of Monsanto's revenue. Less than 2 months after Bayer completed the Monsanto purchase, a financial and public relations nightmare occurred. A $2 billion ruling against Monsanto was handed down in a California court. The ruling found that the chemical in Roundup had caused someone to develop cancer. The financial compensation for the original case was lowered to $289 million. Regardless of the dollar amount, the floodgates for lawsuits was open because of this ruling. After the first case against Monsanto was resolved, over 100,000 U.S. citizens have filed to be members of class action lawsuits against Roundup and Bayer. Bayer has been fighting countless legal battles since the acquisition of Monsanto a little over 3 years ago. Bayer decided to resolve the litigation outside of the courtroom. Bayer stated last year that they would pay claimants over $9.6 billion to settle current lawsuits against the company because of Roundup. Bayer also expressed that they would set aside $1.25 billion to settle any future litigation about the embattled herbicide. Bayer went from an old company that was never talked about to one that was covered on every nightly news show for the wrong reasons. The Monsanto acquisition quickly transitioned from a business deal to a financial and public relations crisis. Bayer changed the narrative by displaying integrity and accountability. Someone who shows integrity is showing ethical behavior by having purposefully accountable action, honoring explicit and implicit social contracts, and seek to avoid and prevent harm to others. Explicit integrity is something that may not be easily defined in the corporate world. Management and organizations can show integrity by genuine behavior. This authentic behavior is displayed when they have personal standards they live by and they are honest and true to themselves. Bayer showed integrity in many different ways in the aftermath of the Monsanto acquisition. The German corporation never appealed the decision of the courts in the lawsuits against the dangers of the chemical in Roundup. Bayer did appeal the original amount of the judgment, but never the judgment itself. Bayer also displayed integrity by never saying that the chemical in question was not in their product. King Solomon wrote several proverbs about integrity. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but he who makes his ways crooked will be found out. Proverbs 10:9. The righteous who walks in his integrity, blessed are his children after him. Proverbs 20:7. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the crookedness of the treacherous destroys them. Proverbs 11:3. Bayer walked the path of integrity by following the rules of the courts and admitting the presence of the chemical in Roundup. Accountability denotes being answerable to others by performing up to certain specific standards. When someone or an organization is meeting these standards, they are fulfilling duties, obligations, and expectations. Corporations regularly codify accountability through audit and compliance programs. To simplify, accountability is being answerable to someone for something that is important. Bayer displayed tremendous accountability during and after the Roundup trial. The company was held financially liable or accountable for the damages caused by another company. Bayer did not dispute the legal judgment against Monsanto. Bayer accepted responsibility and paid the claimant as directed by the courts. Even now, years after the acquisition of Monsanto, Bayer is still being accountable for the damages caused by Roundup. Bayer was accountable, is accountable, and will be accountable in the future because of this product. Bayer placed over $1 billion in an account to pay for the damages that may arise from this product in the future. Paul wrote about accountability in his letter to the church in Corinth. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or evil. 2 Corinthians 5:10. Paul was saying that everyone will be judged in heaven. We will all be held accountable for our actions here on earth. Bayer is having the actions of a company now under their corporate umbrella be judged by the legal system. Bayer is being held accountable for the immoral actions of Monsanto. James, the brother of Jesus, wrote, So whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin. James 4:17. As James says, being accountable is knowing what is right then doing the right thing. Bayer showed accountability by accepting the financial judgment and paying the damages to attempt to right the wrong committed by Monsanto. Today, Bayer is a multinational conglomerate comprised of over 350 different name-branded products with offices in over 80 countries. Bayer is headquartered in Leverkusen, Germany, and employs over 100,000 personnel. In 2020, Bayer's international sales totaled over $49 billion. Bayer has vowed to remove glyphosate, the chemical herbicide in Roundup, from all of their products by the end of 2023. Bayer was able to rebound after all the negativity surrounding the purchase of Monsanto. Bayer is currently the 17th most valuable company in Germany and the 4th largest pharmaceutical company in the world. Here is the key takeaway from this presentation. What can we learn from Bayer? The first takeaway is having integrity and being honest. Bayer could have made a bad situation worse by not being honest. They decided to be truthful and admit the questionable chemical was in their product. We need to be honest in all of our business dealings. The truth will eventually come out, so you might as well be honest from the beginning. Something else we need to learn from Bayer is to always be accountable. Bayer could have fought and denied the claims against Monsanto, since the lawsuits were filed before Bayer even owned the company. Instead, Bayer chose to accept accountability and responsibility for the lawsuits surrounding Roundup. When faced with a negative situation, the best course of action is to accept responsibility quickly, then move on whenever possible. The final thing to learn from Bayer is to always be resilient. Less than 2 months after Bayer purchased Monsanto, a $2 billion judgment was settled against them. The Wall Street Journal wrote that the Bayer-Monsanto deal was one of the worst corporate deals in history. If Bayer would have listened to all the press and focused on the negative, they would not have survived and become one of the top pharmaceutical companies in the world. This will conclude the Initech Monthly Leadership Strategy Meeting. Please follow the guidance of Bayer. And to boil it all down to one simple idea, do the right thing. Thank you for your time.